Hi, my name is Jeff Merrick. I'm the Managing Director at Granite Loan Solutions. This is another segment of our conversations with industry experts, and I have with me Lee Janc, who is the Chief Strategy Officer with Loan Leaders of America. And thank you for taking time with us today.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So Lee, can we start out by you giving us some background on Loan Leaders?
Loan Leaders is a lending company that's been around for 10 plus years. They were predominantly a consumer direct lending company, to do both purchase money lending and refinances, and have over the course of the last couple of years kind of grown up to adopt some of the refinancing strategies that are out in the marketplace now. So they've done really well. They've weathered some of the rough spots over the industry and the market, and they've done that by sticking to more conservative type of lending programs. And
at Granite, we're committed to helping borrowers and being a part of the solution to our housing crisis in the country, and I know that at Loan Leaders you have a heavy emphasis on that as well. Can you maybe explain some of the refinance opportunities that could benefit borrowers, I guess, and some of Granite Loan Solutions clientele that buy notes from us?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the focus on the investment community is liquidating the assets, but oftentimes there's a lot of borrowers that can qualify to stay in their homes post a modification program, or even if they were not in a modification program at all, and that's through refinancing. And there are still assets that are out in the market as well that need to be purchased by consumers or borrowers, so they require lending too. So Loan Leaders has been able to kind of serve that to companies like yours. So if Granite takes a pool down and there's a certain percentage of that pool that can be refinanced, Loan Leaders can serve that. And then in addition to that, if marketed correctly or appropriately, some of the assets that are liquidated, those borrowers that want to buy the asset, can be extended financing and lending through Loan Leaders too.
Fantastic. So I know there are a couple of loans that I'm familiar with. One is the HARP, or HARP 2, I think is out now.
HARP 2.
And then there's another one that's called 1023. Do you have any information, or can you share some information on those loan programs and kind of how they work?
Those programs were designed to be more of a streamlined approach to consumers that have performing histories and need to refinance, but perhaps their asset isn't valued at what it used to be. So in order to offset the risks in lending, HARP and 1023 programs and requirements were issued out to the market, so that there are at least some types of financing for those borrowers that want to stay in their home and are okay with maybe kind of toughing out what the market's going to bear until their equity or their value can return, or they just want to be in the home because they like the neighborhood or they have school systems that they want. So those two programs were designed to make sure that they fulfill that need and also offset or avoid possible strategic defaulters that feel frustrated because the assets in their communities are selling for lower than what they bought their homes for. So rather than have very complicated lending requirements, HARP and 1023 allowed a very almost vanilla approach to get through the process faster. And Loan Leaders has been very good at serving that community and making sure that they adhere to the risk requirements of the investors that they have.
Gotcha. And I know that Loan Leaders is part of a family of companies.
Yes.
Can you explain that for us?
Loan Leaders' parent is an owner of kind of a full continuum, of full credit spectrum of loan services. So when you look at it from a lending perspective, if there is a servicing platform that is trying to avoid portfolio runoff, or their assets that aren't performing as well, those pools can kind of come into this parental or ecosystem structure. And as it goes down the line, loan leaders can serve the refinancing again, or the lending of those assets taken down. And if they can't, then they can hand it off to a sister company that can facilitate short sale or deed in lieu. Or if that doesn't happen, they can hand it off to another sister company that specializes in REO or auctions. And then another sister company facilitates an agent network that allows all of that to happen. And because it's under one umbrella or one roof, the oversight and transparency required or needed by investors, much like yourself, can see here's where the loan is kind of traveling through the system. Here's what happened with that particular loan, and here's what's happening to the asset out in the community as well.
So if a customer comes into the any one of the companies that are in that family of companies, would it by default, if it doesn't work here, kind of be referred over there and it would just fall into a slot naturally?
It can. Okay. So if an owner of an asset or a loan comes in and their focus or their priority, so say for example, we have a mortgage insurance client and they specifically want homeowner retention. So what we'll do is we will work very diligently in making sure that modification or refinance works, through loan leaders or a sister company. If that doesn't work, then this family or loan leaders or some of the other subsidiaries can go back to that MI client and say, this isn't going to work. Are you open for us keeping the borrower engaged in the process and pursuing other liquidation strategies or default strategies? And so that's kind of how we build up a really good relationship with our clients. Say, for example, there's a private equity pool holder that has 500 assets and liquidation is their only option, or their only priority. You can liquidate out by selling the asset, or you can liquidate by refinancing out of the current pool. So if we take a snapshot of that and say, well, there might be a desire for that borrower to modify the loan, are you interested in that? Then that particular client would say yes or no, and if they say yes, then we align with a servicer that would provide payment oversight, which was different from their very first strategy that they had when they took down the pool in the first place. So again, it's very easy to see from a family perspective on all these loans, what option do they want as a client to pursue that option first? And if that option doesn't come to fruition, then what are some other options that we could at least offer back to our customer, our client?
Got it. That's fantastic. True solutions. I think in my experience of the many years that I've been acquiring mortgage notes, it's always a feel good when I can buy something and exit out of it with the borrower remaining in the home. And when you kind of top that with a new loan that is less than the actual value of the asset, that's just a win-win. Right. And it's my personal favorite. Right. So I have executed the 1023 loan. Have yet to do the HARP. I think the loans that I deal with, I haven't had any that had that pay history, I believe is necessary. Right. But I do know that some of our note investors are excited about modifying and keeping and holding and being able to be taken out at what I believe is above current value on the HARP 2 program. So real tools, real solutions, saving families and homes. Yes. So well, I commend you and your companies on your commitment to what's going on in the real estate marketplace today. And if anybody wanted to get a hold of Loan Leaders, how might they do that?
Loan Leaders actually has a website that they can click on, and there's a Contact Us section, and there's a business development contact, and Loan Leaders is obligated to respond within 24 hours of any either client or consumer or borrower request that comes in. Great.
Well, we've had just an amazing experience with you and your companies. As from a customer's perspective, the level of customer service, the personal tailoring to the needs and our desires have all been met and exceeded. So again, hats off to you and to everybody in your groups. And thank you very much for taking the time out with us today. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thank you for being a client and a partner.